Greetings, everyone. It's Wednesday, October 1st already, and welcome to Wearable Wednesday.
Hello, Mr.
It's a pleasure to have you.
Hello, Mr. Good to see you.
It's good to see you. Wearable Wendy is back with us, and Wearable Wendy, I know you're having a rough hump day, but you're trooping it out, girl.
Yeah, my 10-year-old gave me some kind of a head cold, so I'm kind of laying low today and keeping the germs within the confines of my home. So.
Yeah. Everybody at the office thanks you for that. So that's yes for your kindness. Hey, what we're going to talk about today? We are here next week. We're going to be at the. Can you hear that?
Yeah. What's the replay back there?
Yeah. Tell them what we're doing while I check the audio on that.
So today we are going to, so I'm kind of laying low today and keeping the germs within the confines of my home. So we're going to spend time talking about the Wearable Technology Adoption and Monetization Summit that's happening next week there. Hello, caller. You're on the air.
Thank you. Okay. Yeah. So what did I miss?
Just that we're going to talk about the Wearable Tech Adoption and Monetization Summit. So that's all.
Okay. Well, it's a big deal. For those of you that don't know anything about the conference, it's going to be out there in San Francisco. Be good for us, Wendy, going back to Silicon Valley, seeing some of our friends.
Yep.
And it's a pretty big. If you look at the event link, there's it'll navigate you right over to the actual event page, and there you're going to be able to see the agenda, kind of the format, the day and a half that's there. It's really compressed down to not just adoption, but monetization. So when we talk about who's going to be there, let me go down this list for you. Tell me if you recognize any of these names. Rochester Optical, obviously. Virgin Airways.
Yeah.
Samsung, Microsoft, IBM, Merck, Forrester, a good friend of mine, Glenn Gilmore, Richie Etuaro will be there, brilliant, Bank, Wells Fargo, a lot of payment systems, interesting, PayPal, also interesting, we'll talk about that, Reebok, Humana, when we get into talking about insurance and we talk about health and pharma. Javelin Strategy, HZO, which I've seen numerous times at these events, and what they have is amazing. And, of course, drumroll please, Misfit Wearables.
Yes, I'm excited about that one.
Yeah, it'll be good to see Rachel there.
Yep.
And I know you'll want to talk a lot about her. That's just the speakers. So we've got other people there. You and I were talking about. Let's see, one of them you were interested in. What was it? Yes, that's right. Coach. So we will hypothesize about why they're going to be there. But obviously big Coach fans. Yeah, and comes with a free Rochester Optical default frame with every purchase. So yeah, we'll have fun talking about this for sure. We do also want to, before we get rolling through the agenda and what some of the main points are that we're looking at the end of the show, we'll give you a special code that will get you a major discount off of attending. Compliments of Rochester Optical and our organizers, Strategic Solutions, and of course Liat and Mary, who are the bomb at Strategic. Who event for us there at Fisherman Wharf. So thank you guys on the playback. You'll be able to enjoy that. Let's see. Let's go ahead and get into the event. If you navigate to the site, you don't have to, but we're going to talk about just some highlights from the program that we think are going to be some head turners. And next week, of course, we'll cover some of those highlights right here on Wearable Wednesday. But one of the first things we want to talk about is use of wearable technology to make your brand more relevant. Now we've seen some recent news on this, particularly in the smart glass area, which is our wheelhouse. But wearables are heating up. There's no doubt about it. We have enough data now to see where wearables, obviously Apple, is got on everybody's radar again. Glass is still percolating. A lot of new things coming at CES this year. So, how can brands use this? What are some of the things you saw there on this part, Wendy?
Well, I think it's interesting, Mr. Chairman. If I understand correctly, you're the one that's delivering this keynote address, right? So I think it'll be exciting because we have been at Rochester Optical totally immersed in, really bringing wearable technology to closer alignment with our brand. And I'm sorry, forgive my fogginess of my cold, but as we did at Vision Expo West in Vegas here just 2 weeks ago, we sort of made that leap from just an optical company to an optical and wearable tech company. So I think there's a lot of relevance with different brands, perhaps like Coach, who's going to be there in attendance, wanting to learn how they can marry wearables to their purses, their rings, their watches, their sunglasses. They make all those things. So I think it's a great way to kick off the conference. And as you said in recent news, there was an article that came out that said that by 2019, smart glasses are projected to hit $3.2 billion. So this is not small change. This is just the beginning. I mean, we are just on the beginning of this wave of where just smart glasses are headed in the wearable tech space. So I think it's a great way to kick off the conference.
Yeah, and we're going to have a lot of really neat people there that are going to be talking to this point, so I won't be saying too much other than but Larry's going to be there. Obviously, they have excellent research and data to make some really nice points. So I'm looking forward to. Let's see who we got coming from Forrester. Oh, JP. So JP Gaudner will be there from Forrester. So that'll be nice. One of the other things is on commercial space. We're seeing a lot of brands that, for example, DuPont and Pioneer, what they're doing with glass, and that's making a real big headway in the agricultural world. And people are like, well, agricultural? What in the world? A bunch of farmers? And I don't think they realize that what we're talking about is a trillion-dollar business, global business that's got a gigantic bandwidth. So when you see a player like DuPont jump in there, who have already been using some types of technology like tablets and things like that, now moving to something that's even more hands-free, things like that, whether it's activity trackers or things to do with land plots and assessments for their people. It's so big, and when you try to put that just into a wearable and hands-free and with some type of safety or OSHA-rated screen so that they're safe, boy, now they can use their hand. It's amazing when you do. Let's talk now about payments. This is a big deal at the show. Wearable payments. Now, I do find this one. I don't know. Wendy, do you use like Google Wallet, or do you use a mobile NFC enabled payment system?
I have. It's not something that I've adopted full team, and that's why I think this session is going to be so interesting, because they're going to talk about security and all those things that we as consumers worry about when we use mobile payment for purchases and such. So,
yeah, is that one of your concerns? Is the safety and security of it?
Well, sure it is. I mean, you look at some of the data breaches that have happened with brick and mortar stores, and then you add the layer of complexity to mobile transactions, and it's certainly, I think security is a big thing, but I'm not opposed to it. I'm excited to hear what the folks from PayPal have to say is we know they're making a big shift in 2015, separating from eBay. So, you know, maybe their focus is going to be on wearables. I guess we'll find out, but I think it's going to be exciting.
It's intriguing for sure.
Right.
But I have those same fears, right? If big companies like Target and everybody else can get hacked, and our confidential information, which we're scanning from our wallet, we think that is our current safest way of handling it, can get breached. Well, how about us just swiping our mobile, or let's advance it up to the watch, or to a misfit. Maybe Misfit adds that into their. Or Jawbone, who will also be at the event, or Coach. But it's intriguing, but I share those same concerns. So it'll be interesting to see how payments are going to try to make some type of a splash here. They're going to talk about the current ecosystem, the pathway to convergence. I think that there's just that big fear element out there that
absolutely
that until that can get safe, and I think that's why the NFC isn't really taken off on this thing. I've got it on here, and I've just never comfortably turned it on because of security.
Right. And you watch shows, and I know this is like TV, but you watch shows like Person of Interest where they're cloning phones as people walk by and they're getting all their data.
Right.
That stuff's not really going to happen, So,
yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, that's the scary stuff, and we also, we always also thought the NSA wasn't tracking our behavior. So, but rude awakenings for all of us, and I think it's exciting, and it's whoever can crack that nut of security first. Maybe it's PayPal.
Right.
Maybe it's someone new who gets acquired by Google or somebody else that can do that and facilitate that. And we know we've got on that panel. I'm really excited because Javelin Research is there, TD Bank, Wells Fargo, and PayPal are that panel.
Those are some big players, Tim.
Heavy players, man. And so if anybody knows how we're going to get there, it'll hopefully be one of these folks. So we'll look forward to reporting back on that.
Right.
And then the next part on that morning is, again, more on the unlocking the secret to mass adoption of wearables.
Right.
And, I don't think it's a secret. I think once you start using wearables, wearables, for example, could be this guy. Our buddy Simon Chim wears these.
Yeah.
I'm going to be wearing these out in San Francisco and training Georgina how to wear them.
Oh, awesome.
No, that should be pretty awesome, right? So we'll be riding these bad boys around. Those are from Cardiff Skate Company in Cardiff, California. That's a wearable tech, really.
Yep.
But when we start talking more about the digital stuff, the glasses, the watches. There are some people that are in the older area that are, they're still a little apprehensive about, why would I need one of those watches when this Timex that I've had since 1962 has worked great.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's going to be a turnkey mass adoption, but that's just me. What do you think?
Well, I think it's interesting. The woman who's speaking, her name is Liz Dickinson, and she's from Mio. And as you know, they make heart monitor wristwatches. They have the Alpha and the Link, two different ones. Which, by the way, I was researching. If you buy, I guess right now they're giving away free arm warmers, which is appealing to me because I run in the Northeast and it's getting to be cold. But in any event, right now sports and fitness, they're dominating, as you said. That's where the massively taking over. And a good friend of mine was surveying yesterday on social media. I guess he's doing a session on smartwatches, and he was asking his friends, which device do you use and how do you use it? And within 10 minutes, there was hundreds of comments. So I think the smartwatches have really found that mass adoption. But I think I'm interested in this session to hear if she talks about enterprise. She talks about the Vuzix M100, those types of smart glasses. If she talks about things like Epson Moverio that can be brought into the workplace in that enterprise setting, to see how that's going to go mainstream. I think that will be less visible to the public because they're behind the confines of a large corporation. But I think mass adoption may happen. We just may not realize it. If that makes any sense, and maybe I'm not articulating well, but
I think you are. And I think when you're talking about Mio, I was thinking of LumoFit, right? Which is also has to do with your posture and how that the new smoking. Yeah, there you go. The new smoking is our posture and how bad it is for our health. And what LumoFit's doing with their Lumo band and all of that, I could see where that now has a very practical for somebody like Blue Cross Blue Shield or some of these other folks that we talk to for insurance and healthcare. But as far as enterprise, man, can you imagine when you look at the health benefits, you do some of the research, and that's why I'm looking forward to seeing Javelin and Forrester what they have to say about some of this. But having when you track the sick days and the energy levels of people, and if you could relate it back to something as simple as fixing their posture, I mean, a $99 LumoFit band would make. Well, you should buy those in a hurry, right?
The employers should buy them for their employees as part
of an
ergonomic workspace type scenario. So workplaces are all about wellness now because they want to increase productivity. They want their employees to be out sick less. Unfortunately, I'm out sick today, but less than normal. We have a wellness newsletter at Rochester Optical that comes out every week for health tips and wellness advice and things like that. So I do see that going more mainstream, employer issued. So I think it's interesting.
Yeah, it is
really interesting.
Yeah, and shout out to our HR and Ann Maynard and Savannah and all those folks there that do a good job. But those little reminders are critical. I mean, every time I read those little things, they make me think of something. And so
we got to get you up here to run the 5K next year that we all ran last weekend.
Yeah, I will wear my skates.
Okay.
And, I'll skate it with you. How about that?
That sounds good. That sounds good.
Okay. Let's now go to the afternoon, and on the afternoon program, we've got a number of different things. One is going to be designing solutions in the marketplace. Now, this one is obviously in our wheelhouse too, because one of the things that we've seen with wearables is design. And Patrick will be speaking about this later on day 1 too, on the fashion difference, but the functionality, they have to coexist. And design is critical. Now, for this part, we're going to have the HZO guys in there talking about not just the tech, but it's got to have the function for it to have a return, because no company, no enterprise, no anybody really is going to use this stuff if it's not providing a return. And if you can draw that A to B line, we should see that. Then we're going on to, we've got a part that's interesting before Patrick gets on, and that's about gamification, socialization of wearable tech. Now, you and I may not use this a lot, but we have seen the stats, and that people that are 24 to 16, they've already bought into wearables.
Yep.
And gaming's the big deal for them.
I do use it on my Misfit. I do use it when you look at things like Map My Fitness and stuff. As you know, I'm a budding runner, and I use the word runner very loosely in my case. But I do use it, and I do tweet out. British Bob, he's a runner, and he uses a wearable watch, and he tweets out his runs as well. So to me, it provides accountability. It provides encouragement. Way to go, people. So in that regard, I do use it, but I'm not a big gamer in the sense of gaming. So I think this will be a cool session, though. And Glenn, he's a rock star. Glenn's a rock star. So I think it'll be great just to hear him.
Yeah. Oh, you're not kidding. Glenn's the bomb. It is one thing that's interesting, though. I guess it's how you define gamification, right? So whereas you and I may say, just the competition factor if you will, when we all stood outside at South by Southwest in the rain and got our Misfits.
That's right.
You know, it was on like Donkey Kong, you know, who could get the loop fastest. And then we were questioning each other's goals and everything, and you know, and that was fun. It was motivating.
Right.
Whereas, you know, some others may think of gamification as, you know, some full, you know, wearing the Mavario and some immersive video game type thing. So I guess there's all sorts, all types, right?
Yep. Yeah, and you know, now when the Oculus Rift and everything else that's sort of coming of age, if you will, I think this is going to look totally different. I think gamification, and I admittedly have a lot to learn in this space, so this is going to be one of the sessions at this conference that I'm going to be glued to. So yeah. I'm excited about that because I have some stuff to learn here.
Well, we all do, and you know, maybe they'll have samples, so yeah, we'll enjoy that. Let's talk about Patrick. He's going to be on the next panel that same afternoon on this one, and this is, frankly, I think this is probably the biggest panel of the day because it has to do with today, and that is fashion or function. Which one will offer the breakthrough to mass adoption? Now, do you really think it's either or? What do you think?
You know, I do. I really do, and the reason I say that is because I think we've learned at Rochester Optical a little bit from our experience in sort of kickstarting ourselves into the wearable play space with our first collection of smart frames.
Yeah.
You know, very functionable. They did come in different styles and different colors to try and meet the varying needs of folks, but we do acknowledge that they were not widely accepted, and so we've partnered with a fashion designer, right, to bring that fashion to the smart glasses, and revealing those in the Simon Chim collection and some of our more fashion-forward Rochester Optical frames, smart frames. We noticed a huge difference in the reception at Vision Expo West, so I absolutely 100% think that there has to be a perfect marriage and a perfect balance between form and fashion. Absolutely. Or fashion and function. Excuse me.
Either way, right? But that it's like a recipe, I guess, right? You know, it's got to be right on, though. You know, if it's got too much salt, you know, it's going to be too salty, and they're not going to like it. If it's got too much sweetness to it, it's, you know, it's icky sweet. Yeah. So I think that's what you're saying is we've out in Vegas at Vision West, and then you know, up in Paris at Silmo. You know, I think where we're at now with Simon Chim and those frames that we're going to be dropping next week at Fashion Week. Boom! First time ever. I mean, people are gonna flip out. I mean, you know, they talk about DVF and, you know, some of that stuff. Not to knock them, but this stuff blows that stuff out of the water.
But you know, you mentioned that, Tim, and I was reading. I was in a conversation in the glass community yesterday, and just talking about some struggles that people have with headaches, because, you know, we like to talk about our SmartFold lenses, of course, being the prescription solution, but I had a couple people actually respond and say, well, I don't have any headache issues, but I'm wearing designer frames with my Google Glass with planos. So people are wanting their glass to look like eyeglasses, to be more conspicuous, so or inconspicuous. So I just thought that was interesting. That speaks volumes about the need for the fashion element, especially in wearables that we're putting on our face, because that's the first impression that people get is what, you know, what. Right. So I think this is going to be the key to smart glasses for sure.
Yeah. For sure. And I know Patrick's gonna kill it. Also on the panel with him are the folks from Ringley, which is very cool. Reebok. Yeah. And Principal Designs will be on there. So powerhouse panel that have a lot of teeth in the game. So they're going to have some real important stuff for us to talk about. So then, of course, a big network party that night. Look for Charlie, who she'll be riding around in these things, throwing out gift bags, and or laying down.
That's right.
After she falls down. They're tricky. I tried them on. They're tricky. And then the next day, we've got wearables into the enterprise, and this is where we're seeing a lot of traction with not only from Japan with Lenovo and Vuzix, really jumping into the enterprise, and also with Vuzix, SAP, what's going on in Europe. We see what Google's doing with Glass at Work and some of their enterprise partners that they're certifying now slowly. For not just the software, but they're looking at other elements of enterprise too, which is wise. And a lot of other companies too, like Epson, Samsung, Microsoft. They're all trying to get into the enterprise. So that's going to be a big one. On that part, we've got Crowder and Richard Hu, yeah, so we've got Forrester, so that'll be very helpful. And then enhancing the guest user experience, we hear a lot about that with Virgin Galactic or Atlantic, Virgin Airways, Galactic, I wish. So that's going to be big too.
And then Starwood Hotels and Resorts, I think, and Room 77, so that'll be, that's going to be a fantastic session, and, we all want that interaction with Wearable and the brands that we love to be seamless. And so I think this is going to be another key session on helping brands figure out how to interact with their consumers and marry that, the consumer love to the wearable relationship. So. Yeah.
And I don't know if you heard about the hotels. I know. I forget what we talked about yesterday. It was such a whirlwind day, but the hotels that are now using glass, when you check in, they let you use glass to walk around through, and take self tours through their little art museums or other things that they have there inside the hotel. They let you wear glass to kind of take you through these touring entertainment things, or to check into your room and things like that. So we've got a lot of exciting things coming up, and of course we've got pharma to wrap this thing up. That's a big area for us when it comes to wearables, whether it's sensors, clothing, whatever it is. Wearable tech and healthcare is major.
And data privacy, HIPAA compliance, and the things that, it sort of goes in tandem with the payment solution situation, because healthcare data is such a big issue. So I think, again, you bring these things together. I think this whole conference lineup is just critical to anybody who wants to play in the wearable space.
Yeah, and make money on it.
That's
really. These aren't just everybody that's attending it aren't just pie in the sky folks. These are major corporations and enterprise, and they're interested in how can I adopt it and it draw the line to the balance sheet. So big, awesome event. Again, Humana, Merck will be on that panel, so it should be a crazy time. We're looking forward to it. After the event, Wendy, Patrick, and I, and Charlie will be around, so ping us if you'd like to talk more. We're going to put up a discount code. What is our discount, Wendy?
So thank you to our friends at Strategic Solutions, Leah and Mary Ellen, for offering this. It's not too late to register for this conference. This is the who's who. This is... When we get into the wearable space, it's measure twice and cut once, right? So this is the place you need to be to move forward. So the discount code, you can save $300 off your registration at checkout on the conference website, and I'm going to post this on the event page. Use discount code S as in Sam, PKR300. And I'm going to go ahead and post that on the page here. You can use that to save $300 off your registration.
Perfect. So everybody tweet that out, share that. If you're in the area, anywhere in Northern California there, or if you're flying out, we're not in Northern California, but we'll be there. So
we are going to broadcast next week live from sort of the wrap-up of the conference, Wearable Wednesday, so because we'll be out there.
That's right. And shout out to Rachel, who we're going to ping her and see if Rachel's got time from Misfit Wearables to join us next week. We're big fans, so hopefully that'll be the boss. So if you'd like to hang out or meet up with Wendy or I, talk about some wearable solution ideas that you'd like to brainstorm, you need some assistance, or if you'd like to be on the show, please ping Wendy or I, and we'll be happy to see what we can do. We're queued up really for the rest of this month and into November, but we'd love to talk with you. Thursday we'll be at the Googleplex, sporting new Simon Shim designer frames for glass. So any of you glass fanatics, we'll see you there, and we'll be sporting those. So that's all I got. Wendy, you got anything else?
No, I'm ready to take a nap.
Yeah, I bet you are. Thanks for hanging in there, doing a great job. We know you weren't feeling well, but you're a trooper, and we appreciate it.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Everybody, have a great day. Thanks for joining us again. We'll see you next week from San Francisco with Misfit Wearables right here on Wearable Wednesday. Wendy, peace out.
Peace out to you. Bye, guys.
See ya.